Hi everyone, welcome to Divine Sacred Tarot. Today I'm going to reveal quite a few oracle messages that I've been receiving and personal experiences that have been on the uprise. And what I'm seeing here is some of you may be seeing signs, symbols, messages about the requirement to shift your perspective. Now, personally, I reached out to a wonderful um, friend, sister, um, divine light. And I knew as soon as I'm asking this person the question, it's going to help me shift my perspective. Because sometimes when we ask a question, it's only to help us ourselves reveal what we already know. It's just trying to find that clarity, trying to find that thread. So if you have seen previous messages, if you've seen previous messages that has given you an energetic exchange between you and your counterpart, you may be seeing a lot of numbers, a lot of signs, and you may see their names everywhere. These levels of symbolic, synchronistic messages have a deeper layer of meaning to them. And so the energetic alignment and heightened awareness of, say, your person's name being shown everywhere just means you're not only tuned into their frequency, but they are also tuned into yours. So when you are seeing your person's name reminded of them, you are going to understand what is deeply being reflected back to you. It's almost as if the universe is mirroring your inner state. Not to tease you, it's just to ask you to pay attention. Whenever you see symbols, signs, messages, they're not just synchronizations. They're not just messages from angels or guides. This is a reflection of your inner reality being shown to you in the external. And it also is a reminder that this connection is still alive within you. Okay, well, that was interesting. As soon as I said that, cards just flung my way. Oh, we've got the Two of Cups. Oh my gosh. Okay, my face was quite a picture because it just completely shocked me. The Knight of Swords was here, and behind that, the Ten of Pentacles, the Strength card. But the Two of Cups literally flung into my left arm. It's almost like the notch between your forearm and bicep, that inner elbow. So somebody might be kind of like reminded of the tender touch. And when I was about to say, the masculines are thinking about you too. They are telepathically aligned to you. You're being called to be reminded that there is a telepathic and energetic bond between the both of you. And so instead of thinking, why are these symbols? Why are they constantly communicating with me? Change your perception of what the meaning is behind that. What are you thinking when the signs come up? What are you thinking about? So if you are thinking about your person, they are also thinking about you, but you're also revealing your inner reality to your external state. So you're sharing your awareness in subtle ways with one another. And the Two of Cups just literally it's their higher self giving you the message that there is so much love here. Because the Two of Cups, breaking it down, is about partnership. It's about a bond. It's about love. It's about an offering. And it's so funny because I'd also messaged that I'd seen a double rainbow. And some of you who are already subscribed would have seen the image on the community page on the posts on YouTube. I also did put a post on IG, but it's with a different, no, I think I put the same caption in there. But if we look at a double rainbow, not only is it so rare and spiritually potent, the first rainbow, if we look at it in a spiritual realm, it represents the material sense. The first rainbow is about blessings and hope and optimism and promise, whereas the second rainbow is said to represent the spiritual realm. So we're alchemizing between the material and spiritual. It's almost like the field and the ether. Higher guidance, spiritual awakening, deeper transformation, deeper sense of perception. Now, all of the things that you feel can be seen. But if you're seeing this after experiencing other signs and symbols, because it's going to be unique to you and yours, particularly your dynamic, there is a symbol of union between your physical desires and your soul growth. That is the moment of alignment between those worlds. And it could be nudging you to open your heart fully to the possibility of union and reconciliation. Personally, I channeled a message about being done, like being totally done. And this level of surrender wasn't because there was an unconditional love there. This level of surrender is because there is this. So just then there was an interruption because we were talking about the possibility of union or reconciliation. So we're being asked to change our perceptions. And as soon as I'd been interrupted quite quickly, and that was a masculine coming in and shifting that reality of bringing it back to the current state. So if you are seeing signs of your divine masculine, but you're thinking you're done, it doesn't mean the love isn't there. It doesn't mean the love is unconditional. It means that you are willing to step aside for the highest and best good for yourself and the cohort, the community. When the divine masculines are interrupting this physical reality with those sign symbols and messages, it's because your heart isn't fully letting go of this individual, but you've let go of the expectation of how it's going to happen. So you're being asked to open your heart to the possibility of union and reconciliation. So when you're asked to look at your own actions or inactions, personally, I know my history has involved me latching onto individuals without making a physical step. So I usually love from afar. That is my tendency. So when it came to my person, I had to go within and meditate and communicate. But it wasn't the communication with my person that I wanted to change my perception on. It was a communication that I needed with my inner self. And what I'm saying is, we're being asked to look at our own actions or inactions with compassion, with honesty, with that level of vulnerability. It's time to step up and take responsibility for not messing up, but for choosing distance over devotion, to choose protection over vulnerability. And maybe the signs are here for those individuals who are resonating with this message thus far that you can't move forward if you keep hiding from what you truly want. And that is why we are being able to telepathically come to these revelations of our perception, where we are being vulnerable and we are healing in that perception that, yes, we're not typically a runner of the typical sense within a twin flame connection, but there's a connection here. You haven't possibly fully nurtured it, or that there's an acknowledgement that you have come to the reality of the things that have held you back in this connection and in union. And that in itself is dissolving karma. That in itself is releasing guilt. And that is clearing the energetic path. So even if some of you have been loving from afar, you're learning, you're growing, you're healing, you're stepping into a deeper sense of authenticity and honesty, knowing that this shifts everything, knowing that the circumstances in your hands, if you choose that you want to be in union with your person, it's in your hands to open up the heart and accept that being received in a very specific way, but not in an expectation that it has to go in a certain way, if this makes sense. There was a song that came through that I thought was really relevant. It's called Ordinary by Alex Warren. And I personally have been expanded in the area of gifts when it comes to telepathic songs. There are certain songs that are coming up even before it actually happens in reality, or it's happening simultaneously, like a seconds before something happens in my reality. So these songs that you probably are getting are very often messages from the soul or the divine. It could potentially be your masculine or your feminine, whomever you're listening on behalf for. And funnily enough, if any of you look on Spotify, I'll probably put this song on the next, oh, apologies. I'll probably put this song on the next monthly newsletter that I do for free. So if any of you are interested in joining the free monthly newsletter, head over to divinesacredtarot.com and just subscribe to the newsletters, basically. Send me a message and say you want to subscribe. That's all. And every month I send out like a planetary alignment message, anything to do with either healing or tarot, messages about the community. And then I also send out a tarot card and a specific song of the month. That song, if you have a look at the image, and I will send a link in my newsletter, it's nearly identical to the Divine Sacred Tarot artwork. It's not a coincidence that that song found me as a song suggestion. I never would have found it earlier. Like it got suggested to me on IG. I played it and I was in love with it. I found it on Spotify, and that symbol, that whole image that I have on Divine Sacred Tarot, it's that divine love. It's the mystery. It's the unspoken emotion. So when you are hearing songs, how are you receiving that? What are you finding clarity on? What are you seeing that was always there, just from a different angle? And so when we think about ways to nurture our power, transform the negative energy, foster strength, because we did have the strength card here. Face your fears, being honest with yourself, the Knight of Swords. There is so much love here. There's so much feeling between you and your person, but it's sometimes concealed out of fear, hurt. And so there is this telling symbol within all of these messages that there is a shift happening, but it is also up to you to receive that shift and change your perception on what was into what could be. So that was a large portion of the channeled message, and I would like to go into the divine masculine's levels of awakening. So the first question is what the divine masculine is currently awakening to on a soul level, the Three of Wands. Future energies, future commitment, foresight, vision. And again, I'm the Four of Candles keep coming up in that card, and I'm getting the symbol of those four as it's the divine masculine symbol of awakening, Because the badger on this Three of Wands is this representation of determination, grounding, resilience, fierce protection. I feel that you feminines are probably expanding your level of protection around yourself, guarding what you value. But I also see the divine masculines are doing the same thing. So this is them mirroring you. This is a very earth-like energy. So if you have earth in your chart, it is connected to rooting, creating safe environments, and being that safe, peaceful place in this world. I feel like the masculines are wanting to ground that energy within this current reality. It's about vision, it's about progress, it's about expansion, it is about their future, but it's also about their purpose rather than chasing the shallow or fleeting rewards. I feel that this card is very symbiotic in waking up to their own soul path regarding that inner strength and patience, because we did have that strength card that really flew at me. And because the four lit candles really does remind me of the Four of Wands, it is still about the number four. I feel that the number four is a representation of the entire month of April because it's about harmony, celebration, union, homecoming. It feels as if your soul activation is already recognizing your twin flame as if it's already happened. You know how sometimes you think to yourself, what does union feel like with my divine masculine? And as soon as you feel it in your body, you're like, this is it. You're in current union with your divine masculine when you accept that flow of energy. It's that soul subconscious recognition of that sacred union. And it's the divine masculines who are awakening the need for that inner union before an outer union can manifest. So, what is the divine masculines awakening on a soul level? They are awakening. They're needing to ground this expansion not through the ego driven success, but through aligned vision with their higher selves. But it's also about digging beneath the surface of those superficial wants, requirements, needs that society has told them to need, want, and desire. It's digging behind those emotions, those patterns that have kept them in that cycle, that in that karmic cycle for such a long time, because there is this spiritual union, there is a stability. The masculines aren't just waking up, they're returning to themselves. They're teaching themselves how to ground this power. That's probably why you feminines feel a lot more powerful lately, because you are calling back your power and like guarding your protection that little bit more. But it's also because your divine masculine is trying to do the same. The light of the four candles is calling them home to love, to truth, to inner stability. The soul doesn't want performance, it wants presence. So, what is the past beliefs or conditioning that the divine masculines are breaking free from? The Five of Swords. Yeah, this is something that they need to upskill themselves on. It's basically like when you started watching tarot readings, the cards often got confused with what the messages were coming through from the reader. Now, what I mean by that is sometimes we see the cards, and some readers will just state what the card means from the kind of like basically when you've got the tarot cards, they mean something in particular. But what ends up happening is some readers end up just reading what is supposed to mean rather than digging deeper into the questions or even the answers that come through them telepathically. Some people do it very well, like very, very well. When you are watching tarot readings, you're going to fine tune your own intuition about what is coming through to you in a physical sense, in a spiritual sense, in an emotional sense. So you're upskilling yourself the more you listen or read and watch tarot readings. This skill is conditioned and honed depending upon what type of messages you receive. So, say, for example, if you're constantly in fear or heartache or pain or longing, those are the tarot readings that you're often going to listen to and receive. And this is a big awakening for me because I often say, some of the shorts and some of the channel, it does have a lot of views. But when it comes to these types of videos, why haven't they gone viral, for example? They're not supposed to. There is a reason why, on average, these videos don't get seen very much because the only people who are still listening into this video are on another level of healing and awakening. So you are very few and far between. There is a reason why my channel hasn't blown up and we haven't got thousands of views on these videos. It's because it's supposed to be aligned for a specific community. And this specific community is already trying to vibrate at a higher level of consciousness that not everybody can handle. You've already been in a period of isolation. You've already gone through this heartbreak and pain. You've already gone through this shadow aspect of yourself. So when it comes to the divine masculines, they too are trying to break free from what they already know in terms of what they don't know, but already need to hone in and fine tune within themselves. How is the divine masculine's perception of the divine feminine shifting at this time? Discovery. Now, this is one of the few cards. I'm very, very drawn to these Three Trees Tarot cards at this period, this season. But what I'm seeing is the Discovery card is the divine masculine sees you as the star card. I'm seeing that the divine masculine sees a version of you that is an empress, is a goddess, is a queen, is so high vibrational that they are in awe of you. So this silence, if they are not communicating as much as you would like them to, it's purely because you have blinded them with your light, and this shouldn't be feared. You should in no circumstance dim your light for anybody. And when the divine masculine is being pierced, it's like the morning sun. It makes you kind of wince and squint your eyes. The divine masculines have been trying to wake up from a deep sleep. You're either awakened or you're not. You're not one or the other. The divine masculines have been groggy, they've been asleep. And so those masculines who see you in such a high regard as morning light, as the fresh current of flow that blows into them and the wind sweeps them up, they need to close their eyes because they can't take that all in. When you are being yourself, when you're being authentic and truthful for yourself, divine feminines, your masculines see you exactly how they perceive you. They perceive you in such high regard. They know you're of higher value than they have actually valued themselves. So they're shifting the reality of how they value themselves because they need to value themselves more in order to come into the inner union. What is the emotions that the divine masculines are struggling to process during the transformation? Grounding, yeah. So this is what I was saying. Energetically, the masculines are currently awakening on a soul level to ground this type of energy, right? They need to expand. They need to go from an ego-driven success to but a soul-aligned vision. They need to come into their purpose of their soul mission, and they need to ground this into reality. So the Three of Pentacles is very alike to cultivating, probably digging deeper into the foundation before they can actually lay the concrete. This is the type of energy that the divine masculines need to put time, effort, and energy into, but it's usually unseen. Like you never see the foundations after you've laid them in a house, right? That's the last thing you look at. You usually look at the structure or the second and third floor. You could be looking at the roof. It's very like it's like this iceberg I'm getting. So their emotions have been under the surface. They've been the 3/4 submerged underneath in the depths of the ocean. So what they show you and what they may show others is only 1/3 of that, right? Or 1/4 of that, should I say. So it's very difficult for the divine masculines to open up when they've been so used to being hidden. But that is the emotion that they're struggling with during this transformation. What are the subconscious fears that are surfacing as the divine masculine steps into their true power? Home. Home is where the heart is, home is where peace is. Whenever they think of their divine feminine, there is this sense of peace, of home, of serenity. And their fears are surfacing up because some of them may not have had the opportunity to feel safe in their home. They might have had abuse from their parents, from their caregivers, but also I'm seeing that people have been fostered. So this could have been the unsettled security and safety of a home. So because of those subconscious fears or even conscious fears, they're surfacing, it's withholding the divine masculines to truly step into their true power. So when they're safe, secure, and stable, when anybody's safe, secure, and stable, they can truly step into their power. And there is this dichotomy between wanting to feel safe and secure and comfortable, but also not knowing what that actually feels like because they've never been given an opportunity to feel safe in their true power. How is the divine masculine's heart opening, and what are they learning about love? The Page of Cups, which is very, very beautiful. I feel like the Page of Cups is all about possibility, about curiosity. There is this underlying curiosity from the divine masculines who do want to step into their true power, who do want to learn more about love. I feel like they've looked back in past relationships and realized that that probably wasn't love, that that probably was obsession, that probably was lust, etc., etc. When the divine masculines are learning, there are different threads of love for their family, for their friends, for themselves. They are now coming to the realization that there is this sense of curiosity, that they're not just curious about you, feminines, they're curious about themselves, and you're increasing that level of conscious awareness because you're constantly growing. So you may not directly be influencing your divine masculine and saying, this is what I'm doing, you should do the same. But because you're doing it, it's like how a parent suggests something or does something, and that has a far greater effect on the child than actually being shown what to do. Said what to do. So basically, what I'm trying to say is your actions, feminines, are speaking far higher than your words would have ever. And because of that, they're learning more about ways to love themselves on their own time, in their own vicinity and space, which means that there's no pressure here. And because of that, they're willing to be more curious. They're willing to be open to more opportunities and possibilities. And they're willing to learn more about what this type of love means. What is the new spiritual lessons that the divine masculines are integrating right now? The King of Pentacles. I love that this spiritual lesson has come into the material world. The masculines are very beautifully aligned with the material world. The divine feminines are beautifully aligned in the spiritual world. So as the divine masculines are honing their craft by creating and manifesting their reality in this physical state, they're integrating those new spiritual lessons into the physical reality, which is a big, big deal. That is so beautifully aligned with where they need to be. How is the connection to the divine masculine's higher self or inner guidance evolving? A Fool card. So the Fool is a new beginning. It is opportunities. It is a fresh new start. It is a new chapter, a new season. And I'm seeing that the Fool card is reconnecting the divine masculines to their higher selves, to their inner guidance. It's evolving because they're allowing this version of themselves to be nurtured, If you don't keep nurturing those things, if you focus on different energies, they will increase. If you focus on energies to increase your intuition and your love and the connection with your higher self, your inner guidance, that will evolve. And that's the divine masculine is making a conscious choice to connect with their higher selves, to sitting in quietness and ask themselves, what do I want? What do I need? And that is a big deal. So for the divine masculines, what karmic cycles are coming to an end? The hanged mouse. Now, this is the divine masculines coming into a new perspective and an opportunity. So this is very aligned with the divine feminines who are being asked to change their perception, but it's also clearing karmic energies because they've raised awareness to that very specific point. That was the clarity that they needed, but it's also created a knock-on effect energetically to the karmic cycles that are coming to an end for the divine masculine. So as the divine feminines are coming into clarity about their karmic situations, just by bringing awareness to what is happening. And because of that, this energy that I was mentioning earlier, where the divine feminines have been asked to acknowledge what they were hiding from, what they truly want. This in turn has helped the divine masculines to clear out some of the energetic ties that had stopped them from understanding who they really are, what do they really want in this lifetime. So that's a very beautiful message. How is the divine masculines being guided towards a deeper balance within himself? Okay, so we've got the Tower card, which is exactly accurate because these latest readings have come out with a Tower card, letting us know that the Tower is here to deeply shift the divine masculines. These are the stubborn divine masculines who haven't given themselves the opportunity to open up their heart, forgive themselves, actually ask themselves what they want in an honest and safe way. So the Tower has needed to come through because it's deeply triggering. It has to shift the divine masculine because they weren't able to shift themselves. And it's so funny because as the divine feminines level up, the divine masculines are automatically shifted. It's such a powerful time for the divine masculines to dig deeper into themselves, to manifest their reality and understand what they truly want by honing into that intuition. As I said earlier, their past beliefs and conditionings are being broken by that Five of Swords, about upskilling themselves, understanding how to tap into their intuition and their gifts. And this has taken a strike of lightning. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere, but sometimes it's been in the background, manifesting, harboring, working. What is the energy that the divine masculines are currently embodying in relation to the divine feminines? We've got the Death card. So there is this huge ending, a new beginning, this death and rebirth, because they can't be the old version of themselves and still be with the feminines in this new version. The divine feminines have needed to level up higher than they've ever thought possible. And even when you think that what more is there to come, there is always more. There's always healing. There's always developing. There's always evolution for us in this reality. But it's as much as we choose to go towards. So as you are evolving divine feminines, as you are going through a new vision of yourself, to allow yourself to receive the gifts that you so desire, the divine masculines are feeling this. They are mourning the loss of their old self. And sometimes this in itself can be a karmic cycle coming to an end because they know that the old version of themselves would never have chosen the version of you. When I spoke earlier about seeing you in such high regard as such beautiful light energy, they need to see themselves in that same light. They are forgetting that they are mirroring you and you are mirroring them. So, what message does the divine masculine's higher self want the divine feminines to receive? The Eight of Cups. The more you release this connection, divine feminines, the more you integrate the connection with yourself, the more you honor yourself in your journey. The divine masculine knows that you can rise higher, and they're encouraging you to rise higher during this period of separation. If you do want union to come into this lifetime, the more you focus on yourself, the more you heal, and the more you enjoy your current reality, it is just an infinity. It comes back around. All the love you give will be received. All the higher things that you're doing will be received, because their higher selves want you to know that this love hasn't been forgotten, but the version of them needs to be forgotten. The version of them isn't the version of you when you come together. What is the next phase of this journey, and how can the divine masculine best navigate it? The Devil card, yeah. So we've ended up having major arcanas like the Tower, the Death, the Devil. This is also about, I'm seeing the devil is in the details. Why is this important for this particular message? This next phase of the journey is not going to be easy for either of the divine masculine or feminine. You are going to be given ways to be distracted, to be, what is the word? You're going to be given ways to be distracted from your own growth. And the more you get distracted by your counterpart, the more your ego is winning. So when you're navigating this next phase of the journey, especially for the divine masculines who are listening, you need to focus on your own soul growth. You need to set aside all those patterns of ego, of material, superficial success, and build upon the life that you want to create by changing your perception of who you are and stepping into the reality of who you want to become. So the only way you can do that is in this current present state. The only way you can change what happens in the next minute is what you do now. The only way you can change your future self is now. So the divine masculines are encouraging that for the divine feminines, because they are constantly testing and pushing. And in a sense, the ego is saying, how much have you grown? How much are you getting distracted? Am I winning here? And the divine masculines are too receiving that challenge, if you will. So I loved this message. I absolutely really adored this. I'm going to pull one more card out, but before I do, if any of you want to join the workshops that I will be sharing soon, you want to be a part of the weekly community newsletters, weekly videos that I send out, or even the monthly community calls, sign into my Divine Sacred Tarot membership. You can find all the details on my website. And if you've got any questions, send me an email. If you liked this video, let me know why in the comments box, because I love hearing from you guys. You guys are my favorite audience. Yes, I'm biased, but you guys have been here right from the beginning. And some of you who have just, even clicked on this video, make sure you hit like or subscribe if it was something that you truly resonated with, because I really do appreciate your energy exchange. And the more you actually connect with this and respond to it, the more I can actually channel. So some people always say, I was looking for this video and yours came up. And I was like, that's not me doing it. That's me channeling in order for you guys to receive those messages. And as I said during the middle of this video, this isn't being seen by very many people. So I'm very honored to have the opportunity to speak to the small percentage of you that are doing the work, that are healing, that are rising higher. And the last card that I wanted to share was the Ace of Pentacles. So this is very symbolic of the abundance that you're creating in your reality. There's red roses everywhere. There's flowers being blossomed. And this is the time for you to receive the opportunities that you have worked so hard for. And this is the time for you to really connect with your higher selves so you can come into this harmonious state of union. I'm sending you guys so much love. Bye for now.